What's up, Barnhill family, and welcome back to the channel.
There you go.
So, Nick, how about the hand speed of Fedor Emelianenko? You know, they talk about a fighter, especially heavyweights, the last thing to go is the punching power, but rarely do you ever see somebody who's in their mid-40s that can throw with the type of velocity and precision that Fedor threw against Tim Johnson. Unbelievable combination to finish the fight. Knocked out the number 2 guy in the division in the first round. I mean, this guy's got to be in the GOAT conversation, right?
Oh, yeah. And he's like a fine wine. He's getting better with time. Like,
Yeah.
Obviously, some of his performances are legendary, and these later years are going to be a little bit more just like one-off fights. But, man, it's so exciting to watch The Last Emperor. And he's putting on amazing shows. Like you said, he's fast as lightning. He's got crazy power. He comes in shape. Like, most heavyweights and light heavyweights, they kind of let themselves go, especially into their 40s. But he looks great. He moves great. I think he has some of the best striking in Bellator's heavier divisions. And I would love to see him keep going. And to beat the number 2 guy, that obviously means, especially when you're somebody like Fedor with the big name recognition, that you're one fight away from a title shot. And I don't know. I'd really like to see him throw his name back in there as a potential champion or contender very soon.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it sets up perfectly. Tim Johnson was the number 2 guy in the division. You have Fedor, who's been out for a while because of the name recognition. You throw him right in there with the top of the heap. He gets the knockout in the first round. And it sets him up beautifully for a rematch with Ryan Bader. You know, he lost to Ryan Bader, and I'm sure he, being the competitor that he is, would love to have that one back. And I think his chances are as good as about anybody's. And you're absolutely right about him showing up in shape. He's almost like Benjamin Button, you know, where Brad Pitt ages in reverse. He has a better body in his mid-40s than he had in his mid-30s. It's truly astonishing. It's unbelievable to see the technique and the craftiness inside of the cage and the skill and ability still carrying through almost like he hasn't missed a step.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's got now 16 knockouts to 15 submissions. He's as well-rounded of a martial artist as they come. And I really want to harp on that word martial artist because he is a true martial artist. You know, you saw the wherewithal and the understanding that he had his opponent already defeated. He didn't jump on him over in an overzealous manner and throw unnecessary shots. He knew when he landed that 2-3-2 straight to the face that Tim Johnson was out. He stepped to the side, let the referee step in, bowed to his opponent. I think in a day and age where there's a lot of showmanship in martial arts, in the UFC especially, and don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of it, but it is kind of refreshing to see a real martial artist like The Last Emperor.
Yeah, and there's nothing more frightening than his walkout. But, like, when he does something like that and then he's all graceful with it and he's not jumping on the cage and acting crazy, it just makes it seem that much more of a gangster move.
Yeah.
He's really something special to watch. And I hope we can watch him as many more times as possible because he's a living legend. And he clearly looks like he has a lot of fight left in him. And I don't want to see somebody, you know, go get punched in their, you know, beat up by heavyweights into their 50s and stuff like that. But the way he was moving last night into his 40s, I think he has a lot left in him. And I'd love to see him keep competing. He's obviously very competitive with these guys that are at the top of the heap in Bellator, which is arguably the next best thing behind the UFC.
Yeah.
I mean, most people would say that it's UFC and then Bellator and then everybody else. And for him to be super competitive and now knocking people out in the first round, it just shows that he still has the capability to potentially be the champion. And there's some favorable matchups for him. I think the Ryan Bader fight would be a lot of fun. Ryan Bader, you know, he got him early, right?
Yep.
And that's how, you know, sometimes heavyweight fights go. But I think if they run it back, his chance is just as good as Ryan Bader's to get the win, get the title. And then, you know, Bellator's got a huge thing. They probably book flights to Russia very quickly after that. I mean, last night's or Saturday, whenever the fight happened. I can't remember
there's been
Friday.
So many this weekend. It's hard to keep
Bellator
track.
happens on Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon. I don't really remember, but Russia, they came out to see their guy.
Oh, yeah.
And it looked like a packed house. Everybody was, you know, standing ovation for Fedor. So I think they need to book a fight for him soon and get everybody back to Russia ASAP.
Yeah, it couldn't have been a better night of business for Bellator, and the outcome in the main event could not have been better. When you book a guy, you build a card around Fedor in Moscow. you know who they're coming to cheer for. Right. Tim Johnson was graciously greeted by the fans, but make no mistake, they wanted Fedor Emelianenko to get that knockout in the first round, which is exactly what happened. I think this may be Bellator's best night of business yet. The place was packed out. There was a lot of buzz around this fight. And I think the Ryan Bader fight, as you said, does favor Fedor a bit because Ryan Bader knocked out Fedor a couple of years ago, and Bader looked unstoppable when he came over from the UFC and was able to become a Bellator champ. Right. He's now since lost the light heavyweight belt to Nemkov, and then he just got finished in the first round by Corey Anderson. So he's taken a few knockouts since he defeated Fedor the first time. So when you've already experienced a couple of knockouts and now you got to get back in there with a lightning fast, accurate puncher like Fedor, I think it's a 50-50 fight at best for Bader. I think I would, after what I saw this past Saturday night, I would expect Fedor to probably win that fight, and I think that he could do it in knockout fashion.
Yeah, and I think it would be a competitive match, however long it lasts. The cool thing about Fedor is he still has a very electric style of fighting. Like, you're going to get fireworks in his fights. It might only last a minute. It might last a couple of rounds, but it's going to be exciting the entire time it's happening. And I just think that he has a style that people love to watch. He's clearly able to throw really hard shots still, but he's also able to get out of the way. It's not like watching two older men just punch each other in the head until one falls. Like, there was a lot of slips and maneuvers and defense taking place in that fight, and then a couple of times where you just had these great exchanges. I was a little bit worried for Fedor a couple of times, and then I saw him putting together those combos and getting out of the way, and Tim Johnson leaving himself a little bit too exposed. And I was like, oh, no, my prediction's going to be wrong. Fedor's going to get him. Fedor's going to knock him out. And
I was right, by the way. First round knockout.
Yeah, I had a feeling it would end in knockout, but I thought it would go the other way just because of the chin. Fedor looked like he could take a big punch still. Tim Johnson obviously knows how to throw some heat. So I would like to see him go in there with Ryan Bader again. I think that when you have a star like that and the shelf life isn't all that long, you give him a title fight. It's good for the promotion, it's good for the sport, and it's good for a legend like that has more than earned another title shot in his career.
Yeah, and I think the important takeaway here is we're kind of in an age right now where it's in fashion to call for people to call it a career.
Yeah.
It's time for him to be done. It's time for him to be done. And a lot of times it's arbitrary. It's age. It's, how long has it been since we've seen you, et cetera, et cetera. I think we need to throw all that away because I saw a 38-year-old Nick Diaz fight not that long ago that had no business fighting.
Right.
And I saw a 45-year-old Fedor Emelianenko fight last night that had every bit of business in the world being in that cage. I've seen Anderson Silva, damn near the same age, 46. If I'm wrong, he's 47, doing some incredible things inside of the boxing ring. And at the same time, I see Diego Sanchez, who I'm just praying that he hangs it up. And so it's the number thing I think needs to go because there are smart ways to take care of yourself and your body nowadays. People are becoming hip to it. People are recovering the proper way. They're training the proper way. They're doing the right things to be able to preserve their career. Look at somebody like LeBron James in the NBA pushing 40, but still top of the league in all the statistics.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady, even better example, over 40 in his mid-40s, winning the Super Bowl. So I think the age thing needs to go. We can't just say, oh, he's 40, he's no longer has any business fighting. No, we need to look at the individual and say, what are they doing? Are they 40 and still sparring hard and knocking each other out in the training room? Yeah, then that's a huge problem.
Right.
CTE, you think of long-term issues. But somebody like Fedor, he gives me no indication that he's training improperly, and he gives me no indication that he's slowing down. That hand speed was the fastest that I can remember seeing his hand speed.
Yeah, and just like Anderson Silva's last fight in the UFC, before he decided to go to a new sport at 45 years old and started dominating in that, all the guys that are still able to do it into their 40s and potentially into their 50s, there's one thing in common. They're all true martial artists. They're the guys that represent the sport and live the life. And if you live the life, I think you can prolong your career. If you're one of those guys that burns the candle on both ends, you might have a shorter life. It might be an exciting one, but the martial artist lifestyle can lend you to fight, into your 40s, and we're seeing that with Anderson. We're seeing it with people like Fedor, and I just can't wait to see what both of those guys do next. But the weekend belongs to Fedor Emelianenko. Russia's proud of him. Bellator's proud of him. We're proud of him, and I can't wait to see him fight next. Hopefully it's for the title.
I hope so. Guys, thanks so much for watching our video. Let us know in the comments, do you think Fedor should jump right back in there and try to correct the loss against Ryan Bader, or do you have a different person that you have in mind that you think he should fight? We always love chatting with you guys in the comments, and if you haven't already, a subscribe to our channel is always appreciated, a like on the video, and a listen on audio where you listen to podcasts. Until the next time, guys, have a wonderful day.
Peace.